Hey, I like your style.
Thank you.
Thank you. What's your name? Nice to meet you. So, are you guys just chilling, walking around
Yeah,
here?
we're just chilling.
Yeah. I'm new to this area. Do you guys know any good party
Me are
places?
new actually,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
So a lot of you guys watch these infields on YouTube, you watch hidden camera footage of me approaching women and you try to copy the exact words. And then when they don't work, you're thinking, hey, why is this not working? Why is this not working for me? Am I a unicorn? And I've gotten comments like this on my videos that, hey man, it's working for you because you're good looking. It's working for you because, you carry yourself in a particular way, but it's not working for me. Now, the reason it's not working for you because it's not congruent to you. And by congruency, I mean, basically, it's not authentic to you. All right. You use these words, you copy these scripts and you try these scripts on women, and women can see through the facade. They can see that you're using some copied lines because you're not comfortable when you're saying them. You're all in your head. You're thinking, oh, will this line work? And you're not enjoying the conversation. You're not in the present moment at all. So instead of following scripts and routines without actually giving it a thought, what I want you to do is I want you to understand the framework of an approach, what makes an approach successful and how an approach goes. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly that. I'm going to break down what makes an approach successful. But don't worry, because I'm also going to share with you my personal verbal structure, which basically means the verbal game that I use when I'm approaching women, and then you can make your own routines out of that. You can make your own scripts out of that, and I'll tell you exactly how. Now, before I start, I want to share a personal, one of the most embarrassing days of my life, all right? And this is not easy for me to share because in my team, I've specifically told anyone not to talk about this, but I'm going to share it with you guys so you guys understand what fucked me up in that particular moment. Now, this was back when I was 21, and I got this TEDx talk offer, all right? I didn't even know what TEDx talk was at that time, and I just wrote my script. It was extremely hardcore. I was going to teach extreme hardcore social skills and dating skills. But what happened was in the daytime, a guy came up and he's like, hey man, you need to change your script. And I'm like, okay, so I have 3 hours for the seminar. I need to change the entire script. And one of my friends was a writer, so I gave him to write my script. I gave him the script. Hey man, just fix this. I'll read it out, whatever it is. All right. So he writes the script, and the script is not at all congruent with me. What I mean is, I'm not at all comfortable saying the words what he has written in the scripts because I've not used those words in my real life. I don't use words like that when I'm talking to someone. So I'm not comfortable with those words, and I'm not comfortable with the jokes because that kind of jokes that he added over there, I didn't feel that it was humor. It was humorous. I didn't feel it was funny. All right. Maybe it was funny for him, but it was not funny for me. So what I did over there, I got the script. I gave the script as it is, and it was probably the worst possible speech of my fucking life.
I said the most interesting thing a man could say to a woman, which is, hey.
I made the joke and no one laughed because I didn't feel the joke, all right? And that is what is happening with you. When you're going out in the field, you want to approach a woman, you see all these videos and you're like, okay, there's too much information. I need to copy these lines. But the lines actually don't matter in itself. What matters is how you feel when you're saying those lines and how are you making the woman feel when you're saying those lines. It's going to be dependent on a law of state transference. And if you guys want to know more about it, I've made a video. I'll add a link over here. You can just check out that video. And the law of state transference is basically, if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling nervous, if you're feeling scared, hey, nice to meet you, that state is going to get transferred to the girl. And the girl is going to feel discomfort. She's going to feel emotions at the same level. Now, coming back to routines, I met this guy from one of the forums, one of the dating coaching forums. And this guy was like a complete nerd. He was like Mr. IIT or something. And this guy came up to me and he's like, hey man, I've written down all the permutation combinations of what could go wrong when I'm talking to a woman. What could she say? And all my responses. And I'm like, okay, but that would be like unlimited, bro. He's like, no, it's not unlimited. It's limited. He had like these 10,000 permutation combinations. He had a big fucking register. He had a flow chart. And he comes to me and he's like, this is my game plan, all right? If a woman says this, I'm going to say this. If a woman says that, I'm going to say that. And it's all very structured in the most perfect way. And that's what he thought. But that's all bullshit. You need to understand, a woman can give you anything when she's talking to you, all right? So you cannot have a set word for every reply or every response she has, because memorizing that and then thinking about that when you're talking to her will fuck you up. You will seem extremely robotic and you're killing the soul of the interaction. You need to actually enjoy the interaction, be present to the moment, talk to her like she's a human being, not a fucking robot or AI, all right? And that's what that was. So I asked him, hey man, you have done so much research. How many approaches have you done? He's like, bro, I was preparing my research so I could start doing the approaches. So he gave like a year and a half to do all this research. And then he's like, I'm going to start doing my approaches. And I was like, Man, this is gonna be so sad for this guy because he's gonna realize none of this shit is actually going to work because it's not about the words you say, but it's about the vibe you have. It's about how you're carrying yourself and are you comfortable with those words or not. So the guy went to the field, and I was friends with him for 3 months. So the guy went to the field, he did some approaches. After 3 months, he was so demoralized that he gave 1.5 years to create this whole web of fucking responses. And after 3 months, he was like, hey man, I don't think this thing is for me. I'm like, bro, come on. How many approaches did you do after the scripts? He's like, 10. Now you need to understand, first of all, his pool size of the audience of testing it was really small. Again, I told him he's following a losing strategy, but because he invested 1.5 years in creating that whole thing, he was too over invested over there. So I didn't push him, I didn't do anything. At that time, I was not a coach. I was just a guy meeting another guy with a common interest. And I was like, okay, let's just go out, approach some women and improve our dating lives together. And that was the common interest that we had. And sadly, that guy had to leave approaching just because it didn't work. Now, to make a script or make a routine work, you need to understand the framework of doing an approach. You need to understand what makes an approach successful. And that is what I'm going to teach you. And then you can calibrate your script, you can calibrate your routines, you can calibrate your verbal structure according to what I'm telling you right now, what makes an approach successful. But do not worry because I'll give you my personal verbal structure towards the end, so stick till the end. So the first step of doing any approach is initiating a conversation, all right? It's going to the person and initiating a conversation.
Oh, excuse me. 2 seconds. Hello, Arunav. What's your name?
Now, what makes an open successful? First of all, you should just approach as soon as you see the girl, because the more you look at her, the more you follow her, the girl is going to get creeped out. She's going to know that someone is following me. She's going to know that, this guy's been looking at me for so long, and the probability of rejections increase. Also, second principle is that you reduce the social pressure that you're putting on the girl. So for example, if it's a crowded place, try to go a little indirect and be direct with your non-verbal communication, which is your eye contact, your facial expressions, and your voice tonality. So what makes an opener work? Just going up to the girl, saying hi in the shortest amount of time possible, letting her know your name, and of course, have a warm expression on your face, have a smile on your face, all right? If you're feeling nervous, point it out that you're nervous. Don't try to hide your emotions. Step number 2 is fairly simple. All you need to do is observe the girl when you approach her. Observe, look at her facial expressions. Look if she's going through some discomfort. Is she comfortable in talking to you? Is she invested? Is she leaning in? Focus on all of these things, all right? And then decide what you want to do forward. So that's called calibration. Then calibrate what you want to do after that. And in case there's any discomfort, what you need to do is you need to throw a statement of empathy. Now, a statement of empathy is basically you telling her that, okay, I understand this situation is a little weird, but don't get weirded out. I'm just a nice guy just trying to hold a conversation with you. Instead of actually trying to take a survey or trying to lead something out of you, I'm just a nice guy trying to hold a conversation with you.
I understand. Are you sure? Are you sure?
That is the statement of empathy. The statement of empathy is basically where you tell the girl that you know where she's emotionally at and you're not a creepy guy. And in case you don't see any discomfort, you don't sense any discomfort on the girl's face, then you don't need to go in with the statement of empathy, because you need to understand, if you give the statement of empathy and there's no discomfort, the girl is going to feel weird. For example, if the girl is walking and you say, hey, listen, I know it's weird, I know, this can be a little strange, a random person just talking to you. Even if it's not weird, you're going to make it weird. Okay? So if the girl is interested, if you can sense even a slight level of comfort or slight level of interest, first of all, a lot of girls are comfortable talking to strangers. A lot of girls can be interested in you. So assume attraction, assume that you're a cool guy. Why wouldn't she be attracted? And then when you walk up towards her and she's comfortable talking to you, throw the statement of intent. Now, the statement of intent is basically where you tell her that you could sort of like her, you're interested in her romantically or sexually.
But my cab is waiting. I'd love to meet you if that's a possibility.
Now, guys, one thing you need to understand is it's not all about the words. You can say, hey, listen, you're cute, or whatever, but it's more about the non-verbal communication, how you throw your intent. Like it should be man to woman. The girl should know, the girl should feel your presence as a man. And what that means is your eye contact should be deep, should play with your facial expressions, have a smile on your face, and talk to the girl with a flirty vibe. Now, once you've actually told the girl and you've put it out in the open why you're there and why you're approaching her, the next step is to create some banter. Now, I've seen guys overdoing this step because they're like, okay, I should create some banter to break the ice, and they just look like a fucking joker. They look like a joker, a clown trying to entertain the girl, and that is not what the girl wants. A girl wants masculine dominant presence, a guy who's with some authority, a guy who's talking to her, who has some substance when he's talking to her, who can sort of be non-apologetic about his attraction, and who can talk to the girl, take responsibility off the shoulders, and lead the interaction in a way where he wants it to go, whether it's an intimate direction, whether he wants to build a relationship with the girl, whatever the case might be.
You look like a vampire! You look like a vampire!
I can accept reply. Can you do that?
So use only enough banter to break the ice, and I'm going to give you my personal structure towards the end, so stick till the end. Now once you have created some sort of banter between you and the girl, now it's time to have real conversations where you actually build a deeper connection, where you actually build that relatability which will build trust and comfort. Now once you're talking to the girl, you are having the conversation, you're getting to know more about her, you're telling her more about yourself. That is the time you actually want to lead the interaction. You want to lead the girl from one location to another location. And a lot of guys don't do that. They miss out on this step because they're not sure. They're thinking, oh my God, what if I take this step? But one thing you need to understand, if you want to go out on an instant date, you need to do this step with every girl. That is the mindset you build. The more you practice, the better you get. And if you meet that one particular person you're actually interested in, it's much easier to execute because of all the practice sessions that you've had. So if I'm talking to a girl, general rule of thumb is like, if I'm talking to a girl for 3 minutes, if I'm talking to her, she's investing, this is the time to lead the interaction to a date location, whether it's a restaurant, it's a bar, it's a pub, it really doesn't matter. I need to take her to a date location. So today I just wanted to share it till the instant date. I want you guys to go out and test this shit out. And now I know a lot of you guys might be like, hey man, I still don't have any idea what to say, how to open, what should be the statement of intent, what should be the statement of empathy, what should be the banter like. And that's why I want to share my personal verbal structure in this video, which I've never done before. So smash that subscribe button because you're really gonna love this. Now all of what I'm going to share is field tested knowledge, which basically means we went to Bangalore, we had a tour over there. Whatever I learned from that tour, I took my notes, whatever I learned from observing the clients, what mistakes they're doing and what mistakes people in general are doing, I wrote them down point by point and how I can help them the most. So this is all field tested knowledge which has been tested with multiple clients before, and I'm sure it's going to work if you use it in the correct way, which I've explained to you. So my first step is open, all right? Open is something like, hey, it's Arunav. Now, guys, one thing you need to understand, it's not about the words. You can, use your name. Of course, don't use my name. Don't be like, hey, it's Arunav. Then my opener is going to get burned because it's my original name. Anyways, what I want you to know, when you go up to the girl, have a chill vibe. All right, don't be stressed out. Don't be like, oh fuck, I've got to do this task. Instead, focus on the positive. Focus on the luxury of doing game or social skills. Basically, I'm going out to talk to a woman and I want to enjoy this conversation instead of just focusing on, oh my God, what is she going to think? What are people going to think? Because what is going to happen when you use this sentence, hey, it's Arunav. If you're focusing on the girl, if you're focusing to placing too much value on the external, you're going to get overwhelmed. Then you're going to be like, hey, it's Arunav, and then it's not going to work. All right, so it's more chill, it's more nonchalant, I would say. It's more like a very extremely chill vibe, like you're just having a chit chat with your friend. Hey man, it's Arunav. So that is the non-verbal communication you also need to focus on when you're using my personal verbal structure and any verbal structure, so to speak. Now the second thing is I observe. I observe the girl's body language, I observe her attire, because all of that is going to give me more information to talk about stuff. So, if she's wearing something weird, maybe I can use that in my conversations, and I'm observing her facial expressions to see, is she uncomfortable? Is she comfortable? So that I can decide and I can calibrate my next step. Then my next step, if she's uncomfortable, is the statement of empathy, which I've already mentioned. And a statement of empathy might just be like, hey, listen, I know it can be weird, a stranger, approaching you, but I just thought you were cute and I wanted to say hi. Now, a lot of people might just, walk up to the girl and just say it like, I just saw you cute and I just wanted to say hi. And that's why it's not working, because you are not focusing on the vibe. You're not focusing on how you're feeling when you're actually saying all of this. All right. Now, another statement of empathy one of my friends used to use was, hey, listen, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just here to talk to you for a moment. I hope you can spare that. Now, something like that would also work. You need to figure out what's more comfortable with you. You need to figure out what's more congruent to you, and you need to write it down. And, the kind of words you use in your daily life, I would say. Now, the next thing is the statement of intent. Now, the statement of intent is where I tell the girl that I'm actually interested in her sexually, romantically, whatever the case might be, all right? And when you're giving the statement of intent, you have to be really focused on your non-verbal communication, which is your deep eye contact, playing with the proximity a little bit, your body language. It shouldn't be unattractive body language like this or maybe like this. What you need to do is you need to have an attractive body language, an open body language, deeply focused to the girl, like deep eye contact. And for this, I have this mindset that I'm staring at her soul, and then I throw the statement of intent. Hey, I saw you and you look kind of cute, and that's why I'm here. All right, and talk real slow when you're throwing the statement of intent, because that creates more sexual tension. Now, once you actually tell her why you're there, it creates some sort of tension between you and her. And to break that tension, what you need to do is you need to have some sort of banter, because if there's too much tension, if there's too much pressure on the girl, it's going to blow off like steam. So there shouldn't be too much pressure on the girl, and that is the principle what makes the approach work. And what I do is I break the ice. Now I break the ice by using some banter. For example, if I'm asking her a direction, hey, do you know where's the Starbucks? Oh, most people from Delhi don't know shit about Delhi. Alright, that is one way of bantering. Another way of bantering could be like just looking at your attire and just being like, oh, are you a fashion stylist or a model by any chance? You look so stylish. Let me look at you. That's another way of, just creating this sort of banter. And I do understand a lot of you might not be comfortable with that sort of banter now, so keep it basic, keep it simple. All right. What I do generally is I'll look at the girl and I'll assume what she does for a living, and I create banter on that. So you can use that framework as well. Now, banter is going to get the girl to laugh, but that is about it. All right. You don't want to keep on creating banter, because the more banter you create, the problem that is going to come out is that you're going to be a dancing monkey. You're going to be a joker. Instead of a guy with some dominant presence, you're going to become a joker, and you don't want to become a joker. So do not become a joker, do not be a laughing stock. Instead, just have that banter a little bit and then try to focus on a basic conversation where you're getting to know more about the girl, and the girl is investing and she's asking you more about yourself. So this is where you're actually building that relatability, building a lot of comfort with the girl, and this is one of the most important steps, because based on this, she'll decide whether she's comfortable spending the next 20 minutes with you or not. Now, when I'm having a conversation with the girl, I'm asking her questions that are going to help me plan the next step. For example, what are you up to today? Oh, are you just roaming around? If she's just roaming around, that means the ball is in my court, which basically means that I can take her out on an instant date. If she has some work to do, then taking her out on an instant date is not going to be collaborative towards that approach. It's not going to be a win-win situation for me and the girl. And if the interest level is extremely high and she's not doing much, you can also aim for taking her home or just taking her out somewhere. All right. And that is the next step, which is leading the interaction. Now, a lot of guys don't do this, and I was on the boot camp in Bangalore and I was telling them lead. And these guys are not leading. All right. So I had to literally enter the interaction, lead them to an instant date. But the problem that happened was that I led them to an instant date, but the girl got attracted to me. The girl got hooked to me. And I left after that. I texted on the bootcamp group, hey man, just to my assistant coach, hey man, just pick me up from here. He came, he picked me up from there. But the problem with that is, even if a guy who's more advanced than you ends up getting you on an instant date and gets the girl hooked, the vibe is going to go really down if you're not able to carry it afterwards. And that is what happened in that instant date. So I left the restaurant. One of my assistant coaches came to pick me up. I left the restaurant and there were two guys with two girls, and the instant date sort of went downhill from there because they could not keep the interest level up after that. Now guys, all of this research was done on the tour, and I love researching with clients. I love going out, learning from different people, exactly breaking down what people are doing wrong so that I can give you the most updated strategies for 2023. So I hope you liked the video. Let me know how the approach framework and my own verbal structure helps you in game in the comment section below. And also, I'm planning to compile all my research, okay? All the research that I did on different tours. And I'm going to form a really in-depth and an insightful workshop. Now, I'm not sure how much time is it going to take, but the bro thing always delivers the quality. So I'm going to take probably like 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to add a link in the pinned comment below. All you need to do is sign up for the workshop. Once I'm ready, I'll let you know when the workshop is happening. And this is going to be the most in-depth and insightful workshop in the whole dating coaching industry. So sign up for that because the slots are going to be extremely limited. Now let's talk about the instant date. Now a lot of you guys might think, oh, instant date is when, I take the girl out on a date, I wear a suit, I get her some roses, and that's not how this shit goes. Alright, instant date can be anything. When you're leading the girl, you basically have to lead the girl with an excuse. You have to baby step it towards the instant date. Now what does baby stepping means? Now I'm not going to tell the girl, hey listen, let's go to a bar, let's just have a drink. Alright, maybe I'll be like, hey listen, I'm kind of thirsty. Why don't we walk over there and talk? I'll grab some water. Now, the more she's walking with me through different environments, the environment is changing, but me and the girl, we are the constant, all right? So it builds a lot of trust like that. So once I've built enough trust and I know she's comfortable, I'll be like, hey, listen, if you're not doing anything, why don't we grab some coffee? Why don't we sit over here? Or why don't we grab something to eat and sit over there? Instead of asking permission, I'd probably take her hand and lead her towards that location. Because as a man, it's your responsibility to take the responsibility of the interaction off from the girl's shoulders and carry it to a location where you actually want to take it. Now, if you're someone who really wants to improve his dating life, if you're someone who wants to work with the most professional company in the dating coaching industry, schedule a call with my team and let's see if we can help you fix your dating life this year.